I'm always dancing when I do these little intro videos because it's always following the recording. I tend to do this little aspect after. That way, if there's anything I have to warn you about, I can. So, anyway, I'm dancing because I just had another awesome conversation with Terri Moody. We just wrapped up part two of You Can Have It All, our two-part little series episode or whatever of Mindfully Chaotic. And anyway, so we just had our two-part conversation. If you were able to tune in with us yesterday, then you got a little bit of a gist of kind of what we were going for and what we're talking about. The highlight of it all really is multi-passion, what that means to each of us, what it means as a whole, how we incorporate that into our businesses, into our lifestyles, all that fun stuff. So I gave you a wonderful little intro to Terri yesterday. Today she tells us a little bit more about what she does, less of a focus on Amanda Marie and Wicked Smart Wellness, more of a focus on multi-passion, Terri Moody, and terrestrial moments and terrestrial garden maintenance. So with that being said, thank you so much for tuning into another episode of Mindfully Chaotic, and let's get started. Welcome to Mindfully Chaotic. I'm Amanda Marie, New England-based intuitive healer, community builder, manifestation artist, and founder of Wicked Smart Wellness. Life is a journey unique to each and every one of us, with ups and downs and curves and an infinite amount of possibilities. I know firsthand what it's like to feel defeated, but I've learned how to challenge life and create opportunities in abundance for myself as I move forward down any and every path I choose. My intention is to guide you to harness your own power to create for yourself the journey that you thought was only possible in your dreams. Growth does not need to happen alone, so between myself and occasional guests from the community, I will share with you the tools to shift your mindset, strengthen your intuition, and bring forward all of your intentions. When you live and speak your truth, what you say and do will manifest. Thank you for listening to Mindfully Chaotic. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Mindfully Chaotic for part two of You Can Have It All with me, Amanda Marie, and my beautiful friend, Terri Moody. So hopefully you had the chance to join in for part one. It's very funny because I shared this yesterday, and I'm using words like today and yesterday, even though this is a podcast, because it is all happening real time. Yesterday, I had a quick phone call with Terri in the morning. We were talking about business collaborations, and somehow it turned into us scheduling an afternoon call to record part one of this. And I went ahead, we shared it, and now we're doing the same thing. We're recording part two, and we are just going to put it right out there for everybody and just keep the momentum going, keep the ball rolling. And I'm just so excited about it. With that being said, in part one, we did go over a couple different things like multi-passion. We talked about me a lot, about my aha moment, what started Wicked Smart Wellness, a little bit about my journey, kind of talking about how I tie together my multi-passions. So today we're going to reverse it, and Terri is going to tell us about herself, what she does, what multi-passion means to her, and so many other things, whatever else happens to come up. However, before we jump into that, at the end of part two, Terri did say that she had one more question that she wanted to ask me. I have no idea what it is, but I'm going to pass the mic on over to her and allow her to take the floor, and we'll go from there.
Sounds good, Amanda. And hello to anyone and everyone who's watching. Thanks for checking this out. So just a little heads up, I am in the woods and I have a doggie with me, and there's doggies around. So if I get distracted by doggies, stick with me.
Okay. We all get distracted by doggies. How do you not?
So I really enjoyed hearing about your story and your journey yesterday in part one of this episode. And I can't wait to kind of dissect a little more and learn a little bit more and have more conversations about this, because some of what you were saying about your college experience really resonated. I also, I finished college at the same college, but I withdrew once and definitely kind of like took an alternative path to completing. but still, like you said, I still was able to maintain. I had like, I don't even remember, it was a 3 point something GPA. And, I put a lot of true heart and grit into it. But it's just so interesting to hear that you had a, similar but different and experience in college. And so I just want to encourage anyone who might be in college watching this to be kind to yourself, because it ain't easy, but it's worth it.
I love that you said that. I love that you said that. It's true. Give yourself grace. Everyone's journey is different. So no matter what it takes for you to get through it, and even if you decide you don't want to go through it, that's fine.
Yep. Or if you take a different path completely,
Exactly.
as long as you're true to you. So this, I'm just going to segue to the last question, or final question, although I might have more. The final question is, what is the milestone that you are most proud of with your business?
Ooh, that's a great question. Okay. The milestone, that's so tough for me because along the lines of multi-passion, I have so many different things happening within the business that like, I definitely do have quite a few milestones that stand out. So I think one of the biggest, this is like a milestone in the sense of my journey itself versus more so like of a certain like level of which the business has reached. So I think a milestone for me had to genuinely have been once I finally started realizing that I know my mission. I understand my mission. I know what it means to me, and I know what it means to others as well, which is just like the most important part. So I think a big milestone for me was accepting and realizing that what I do isn't going to be for everyone, and that is okay. My intention is to just reach as many people as possible. If what I do resonates with them, fantastic. And for those who it doesn't resonate with, that's fine. Hopefully they find something that does resonate, that can help them on their personal, their business, their healing, their growth, just their journey overall. So I would say like, yeah, I think that my biggest milestone was kind of letting go of the need to be everywhere and to be for everyone, and to kind of just be able to be myself and allow that to be enough for anyone else who that resonated with.
I love that.
I'm like, if that even technically answers your question, because I'm like, milestone wise, I guess another really cool big success would be the fact that I officially have in-person businesses going. I mean, events going.
No, that totally answered my question too. Is just, it kind of ties back to what we were talking about, the self-worth aspect of entrepreneurship, and how much something I really value about the steps I've taken over the past year and a half or so, because I started my small business officially in 2021 after years of just knowing that I had it in me to do it, but I had so many different things going on. I just didn't pick one. And so, time kept going. But all that to say, it's been a huge part of just realizing my strengths and realizing, yes, it won't be for everybody. But that's okay. And that's the value of that is worth more than silver or gold to me. So it's like, it's so fun to be connecting with someone who's like-minded and has been expanding quickly. So thanks for sharing all of those fun details about your business and yourself and your journey.
I appreciate that. I have to say, I do think that part of the reason I do what I do and I feel so compared to share my experiences with others is because I have had days where I felt like, what is the point of this? Why am I doing this? Maybe I should just get a traditional job and make things a little bit easier. Maybe I should. And the thing is, I realized life's not really meant to be easy. Like we're meant to be going, it's always going to throw curveballs at us. We're meant to be going through these different obstacles and these different learning experiences. That way we can come out on the other side with actual lessons, with actual knowledge, actual wisdom. And that's how we grow. So, I mean, you and I, there was a perfect experience. We were just chatting about this pre-hitting the record button. So I'll just let you all know real quick, talking about how we both had a couple curveballs come up this morning. And in the past, either of us may have rescheduled on the other, just because it was a little chaotic and there was stuff going on. But both of us decided to trust in ourselves and our resilience to not allow any like random little obstacles push this aside. So you know what, a couple extra minutes passed by versus when we were supposed to start. Oh, well, we're not going to cancel. We're just going to keep going and start a couple of minutes later. We'll still end when we were supposed to, you know what I mean? So like the whole point is things are going to happen, but it doesn't ever mean that we should stop. It's okay to take a break. It's okay to take a breath, to stop and take a moment, reevaluate if you have to, but you don't have to stop just because things aren't going your way. So my intention is to kind of share what I do, to share the difference in my journey. That way people realize that even though they may not be going down a traditional path, or even though they may want a bunch of different things that the society doesn't deem tangible, it is tangible. You can have everything you want. There are ways to make it work. If I can do it, you can do it. So that's why I share what I do.
I love it. I love it. And just backtracking for a minute, because you said something, and I don't know if I was distracted by trees or sunshine or what, but you said something about having a business or 8 businesses. You were, as far as a milestone, you like added a.
Oh, I messed up there. I was trying to say that I have my in-person events going.
Oh,
Instead I said in-person businesses, and it sounded like 8 businesses, but that is another milestone for me because I did start all of this at the beginning of the pandemic. So the fact that I'm successfully filling in-person events, that was my business success, because I feel like I took it to a little bit more of a spiritual level when you asked about my milestones. I was like, let me give a business milestone as well. That was something that was really cool for me, which I'm sure a lot of people can relate to, since over the last couple of years, anyone who does have their own company or business of any sort, it's been all about transitioning.
Yes. Yep. Oh, totally. It's been a very interesting year. I worked full time in a school on top of juggling this new business that I'm working on, and it's been really transformative, and I just give so much kudos to the people who have been doing that all along and kind of powering through it and finding new ways to work with the kiddos, and of course all the businesses as well. It feels really good to be able to have conversations about it, and that's one thing that I see as the silver lining, and I know that I choose to see that, and it's not for everyone to choose to look at it that way, and that's okay, but I definitely see a silver lining where I see people coming together in really unique ways. And I notice for myself, I'm definitely more vulnerable in ways that I'm finding are allowing connections to happen. So I'm grateful for those pieces of how challenging it has been. But I digress.
No, trust me, I couldn't agree with you more. And I appreciate you saying that, because I can only imagine how many people can truly relate to that. And I do think that this is the perfect segue. While you're talking about that, we were just mentioning transitioning. You've been going through so much transitioning in your business. So I want you to be able to tell us about what you do and what some of those like awesome transitions that you're making are. But before we even dive into that, because this ties together perfectly with this, I want to really, really highlight what the definition to you is of like multi-passionate. Like, what does multi-passionate mean? What does it mean to be multi-passionate?
So for me, it's that I find zest in life for many things, and it's almost to the point where sometimes I notice that I'm really excited about things, and I look around and people are like also excited, but I feel like I don't know, like I'll give an example. I was in a rock store last week and I really like rocks. And I just blurted out, I was like, all these rocks, Earth is made up of rainbow rocks. This place is so cool. And everyone just kind of looked at me like, yeah, this place is cool. And just like some funny nods. And I was like, oh, this is like my passionate side of me coming out, where like I'm really into this, and I know everyone else is too, but I just can't hide it. And that's why I love that you did that song over the original post, because like there's some things I just can't even pretend that I'm not on cloud 9 when I'm looking at rocks or riding my bike or hula hooping or swimming or hanging out with dogs or painting. And it's just
I love that. I'm so excited.
Yes.
And I just can't hide it.
Yes.
I love it.
That song was right on point. And so for multi-passionate, it's just it's some people, I really respect how some people can get really into a topic and they're an expert and they just are so into it and they're so excited about that. But it's, and I know I'm not the only one. I know there's lots of multi-passionate people, and I'm like, it's so excited to be connecting with that side of myself and just letting it be, because for a long time I was trying to find my niche. I was trying to fit myself in a box. Am I a fitness teacher? Am I a yoga teacher? Am I going to be a aquatics professional and manage pools? And it's it's just so funny. If you look at my resume, I did a interview recently and the interviewer said, well, your career history is quite eclectic. And I was just like, yeah, I can't say I meant it to be that way, but I kind of did. Because it's just, I'm starting to really own it, and I am stoked for that. So that's kind of what it means to me, just having a wide variety of activities that you really, really enjoy.
So I get what you're saying, because the thing is, and it's totally cool if someone is driven by just like, if there's something and there's just that one thing that they love, that's totally cool. Like, no one's saying like that you have to have a million different passions. However, I do think you do hear a lot of times people tell you the reverse, that you shouldn't have a million different passions, that you should pick that niche, that you should, niche it down and become an expert in one area. So it's like, I'm not over here invalidating that at all. I believe that there are people who are driven by that. There are people who do work better when they can focus on one thing, but so I'm not invalidating that, but I am validating the fact that you don't have to live like that. You can have a million different things you like to do, and you don't have to be, what do they say? Like jack of all trades, master of none. That's okay. No one said you have to be the master of everything. No one
Yes.
said that. Like, you don't have to be. I mean, actually, the thing is, people have said that in this society. They have said master one thing and stick to it. But the problem is, this society said that, but like human existence definitely did not, because we would not feel the urge to love and practice and try so many new things if we weren't meant to. So if you're feeling that urge, don't fight it. With that being said, when did you first realize that you were multi-passionate, and how did you decide to incorporate that into not just your life, but your business?
So it's been a gradual process for sure. There's been a few different, entrepreneurial projects that I've started and then just gone in a different direction and spent some time being frustrated about that, and then revisited and been like, why, like, I still love this and I still believe in this. And I've made so many, so it's been a gradual process. And a few weeks ago, I was talking to my accountability buddy and my good friend Dimple Lioness, and I was telling her how I don't know when it's going to happen, but someday I do want to take my professional rescue certifications to the next level and train for EMT or paramedic or something, wilderness first aid, just get back into that side of me that likes being in that role. And she said, you could be a hula hooping paramedic at a music festival and that's okay. And I was like, huh?
She's right.
And so I started thinking about it. I'm like, yeah, if I started hyper analyzing it. I'm like, I can't be watching everything and hula hooping, but I can, but no one else will understand that. So I don't know how I'll make that happen, but I could make a sweet visual.
Well, it all starts with the visual. It all starts with the visual.
So I'm going to send you a visual in the next few days. Honestly, I probably won't get to it today, but I'll send you a visual soon of my work attire if I was to dress for all of the different jobs that I understand now are my passions and are my career, parts of my career that haven't necessarily always gotten the attention they deserved, only because I didn't believe that I could do it all and that it was okay to do it all. I've gotten feedback sometimes, and again, coming from the best places and genuine care. And I also validate and understand that it's not for everyone to monetize like every hobby. And I don't even necessarily recommend it, but I'm also getting started on it just as an experiment, really, because why not? Like, I'm doing all this stuff anyway. I have hula hoop material all over the place. I have painting supplies everywhere. I have dried plants like hanging around my house. And it's to the point where I want to share these things, but it also ties back to that self-worth where I might not be a master at all of those things, but I've done them for a lot of them for over 10 years now. So I have enough confidence in myself that yes, I do have it is worth something to give someone that handmade craft with love. And that's kind of, yeah, it's been a gradual process. I'm still digging through it, but thanks for asking.
Yeah, no, this is incredible. I think that everything you just said is very inspiring because it's true. First off, one of the things I want to highlight that you also said was like, you don't have to monetize everything, but if you can, why not? If you can, then do it, because we do live in a society that requires money. So like, if you can make money doing what you love, then go for it. However, don't make that a requirement for yourself. You have all of these passions, still practice the ones that you love doing, even if they aren't ones that can make you money. That's the whole point of it. I want you to stay true to you and your passions and to not lose pieces of yourself just to fit in a box. That's another thing you said that I love that you brought up, because boxes, oh my God, I do not believe in them. I do not believe in putting people in a box. I understand that there are some people that feel comfortable in a box. So that's fine if that's where they want to be. But I do not believe in putting anything in a box. That's a big piece of how I tied together my multi-passions with Wicked Smart Wellness, because I tell people all the time that my main goal here is wellness. You know what I mean? We're talking healing and growth for business and personal. The main thing here, it's all centered around wellness. What's wellness mean? Wellness to me has to do with happiness, because it all starts with the mindset. And mindset and happiness are two different things. Obviously, I'm not putting the two together. However, they work together really well. When you can have a positive mindset because of the fact that you're doing things that make you happy, then you're going to be a little bit of ahead. So with that being said, happiness doesn't belong in a box. So wellness doesn't belong in a box. So none of the stuff that we're going to do to bring that wellness out and to encourage that wellness belongs in a box. Just like how like none of your passions do. Like you know what I mean? Like you should never be losing sight of who you are and what's right for you just to fit into something.
Right. And I think a reason that this model that I'm dabbling with and starting to expand on works for me and maybe would work for other people if they were so called to choose this path is that, you know, when you're multi-passionate, you aren't going to want to hula hoop every single day of the week. You're going to want to do, and that's okay. And so if you have a workshop for it and then let it go for a few weeks, or if you're gardening and your customer wants to work on stretching because they also like to garden with you as you're working, then you can tie those things together. And I think that's been the biggest aha moment for me lately as well, is that I believe everything's connected. So that means that you can have a business model where everything is connected within that business model. And so that's what I'm building and just being inquisitive about. And thanks for holding space to dissect it.
Yeah, no, I love where you're getting at. And I truly do. I mean, I think like an example I can give that from my personal practice is with like what you were saying, like there are some days that I want to paint. There are some days that I make candles. There are some days that I like to write. Those are all creative things, right? Well, there are other days that like I am not inspired to create. There are other days where like I could go weeks at a time of not touching a paintbrush or any of that stuff. But the thing is, it doesn't mean I've lost my passion about it. Like I can come back. Now you use this example with your business, which I love. And that's the fact that like there are certain things, or even just for example, maybe you want to host a hula hoop workshop here. No one said you have to host it every Friday. You can host one now and host another one in a year if you want to. Like, yep. And I think we are so focused in the society on consistency, but the only consistency that's really important is that you're consistent to staying true to yourself.
Yes. And the only constant, people say this all the time, it's so cliche, but the only constant is change.
Exactly. Exactly. So let's use that as a segue to talk about, some of the changes you've been making. Tell us a little bit about Terrestrial Garden Maintenance. Tell us about Ebony and Ivory, the podcast. Give us a little background of some of the things that you do, these multi-passions that you've turned into a business and how you've tied them together. I want to know all about it.
Sure. So as far as the gardening business, in the past month, we were supposed to catch up at the beginning of the month, and I was going through all these shifts, and I started saving things that I was weeding from people's gardens and starting to dry those flowers and dry those weeds, because some of them are actually herbal medicine. And I just realized that when I was growing up, that was something I loved to do as a child, was walk around in the backyard and pick flowers and dry them and make tea. And dog moment. So I just started connecting all the dots and was like, wait a minute, I need to expand this business into terrestrial gardens and treasures, because underneath the treasures will be the hula hoops, will be the herbal medicines and things like of that nature. And then, hi doggy. Oh, it's such a doggy moment.
I love doggy moments. Hi
doggy. We have a visitor.
We're sharing the doggy love to all of our listeners and viewers right now. Sending doggy good vibes.
Your dog's awesome. Thank you. They almost look alike. They have similar colorings.
Yeah.
I love it.
So Terrestrial Gardens and Treasures, I'll start selling more products rather than just the service of fine gardening. And then working on terrestrial moments as well is something else that I'm working on, which is just my personal brand, which includes hiking with dogs and being outside and creating moments for people to either have an event or have space to, have space for themselves to do what they need to do, and see how I can assist them with that. So there's a few different ways that it might be structured, but those are the big ideas. So events, services, and products. And then when it comes to Ebony and Ivory, this is a brand that has been 10 years in the making. My roommate from college and good friend Dimple Lioness is a hip hop artist, among many other hats that she wears.
Another multi-passionate person.
For sure.
We'll have to get her on the show, by the way. She has to get on here at some point, hopefully.
She definitely.
We want to talk to you, Dimple Linus.
Yeah,
all right, sorry, go ahead.
I'm so excited for that, because we've been wanting, and she's been wanting to connect with other people who do podcasts. So it's definitely in alignment with what we've been working on. It was basically like 10 years of us prepping to just put our conversations public for people to hear, because we go down some fun rabbit trails and just really go in deep. And I'm just grateful, because it's interesting when you're like branding yourself or branding a friendship, because it's much deeper than can even be portrayed almost, and it's something that's like near and dear to our heart. So it's fun, it's goofy, it's serious, and the premise of it is to hold space for people who maybe felt or feel like they don't fit in, or they don't have their tribe or their soul family, or people who really get them. And so Dimple Dinus I'll let her introduce herself.
So people who aren't in a box, though, people who don't belong in a box.
Aren't in a box. Yeah, exactly. People who aren't in a box and are, trying to figure out how to make that work, because especially when you're in college and younger, and I can imagine too in adulthood too, if you're like, however it works out, it can be really challenging at times to be in that space and feel like, why am I so weird? You know, like, why am I walking around and nothing makes sense as far as career, or, you know, why is everything so surface level when I'm trying to go like 6 layers deeper on this conversation? And so just holding space for those kind of conversations and those kind of things that happen, or friendships that happen. So we're just putting it all out there, and like you said, it'll be for some people won't get it, and that's okay, because we're just having fun.
And that's what it's all about. That's really what it all comes down to. That really is what it all comes down. I absolutely love that. I love that. I love what both of you are doing. And I'm excited to continue to learn more about it and to be able to be a part of it in some ways as well. That's another thing. You were talking about some of the transitions with your business. I was talking about some of the transitions with mine. One of the cool things is we've personally found ways to collaborate. We have other like project, as I knock things over. We have
That's okay.
other things like in the works, and there's just so many fun things going on. And honestly, the most important part of all of it to me is really just enjoying it and really just taking
Yes.
what we can from the journey, like it'll be a learning experience no matter what. I was just talking about this with another friend who does events as a service. And one of the things that I was telling her was, because she said to me, I only had one person signed up for my event. And she asked me like, well, what do you do? Like, do you cancel? Like, are you going to cancel? And I said, no. And she said, why? I said, because someone signed up for the event. And she's like, but it's one person. And I'm like, okay, well, one person signed up for the event, so I'm going to have the event, because I treat every event like one person or 100 people are there, no matter how many people are there, because I decided to put on that event for me. It's something I want to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's something I want to put out to the community. So no matter how many people come, it doesn't change what I planned to do. It's still going to reach someone in some way. And the way I look at it is on the other end of it, like if someone doesn't sign up, then, that's okay. You just put it out again. If they sign up next time, and other than that, like you just kind of do it because you want to do it. Like that's one of the most important things. Like if you're putting a bunch of stuff on the calendar that you don't want to do, that's when you see people constantly canceling and rescheduling events because it's not full, because you're trying to do something you don't want to do.
Right.
And what's the point?
I even have that come up with gardening sometimes. And it's finding that ease versus effort, because it's physical labor. It's hard. It's demanding. So if I'm not making time to do those other passions and to fortify my body and stretch and lift and flow and connect with other people, because I do a lot of that alone. I don't know why I just picked up on that, but what you're saying definitely connects. It's like you've got to do what feels good in your body, and sometimes it is about happiness and mindset, and sometimes it's just like doing what you need to do for yourself. And I thank you so much for having me on for part 2. This has been so much fun, and I can't wait to see how you and Linus collaborate, and Ebony and Ivory as well. So let's keep the lines open.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining me again. This has been, honestly, I love talking to you. I love talking to you. And I guess my biggest takeaway, just because I always like to leave a takeaway before we sign off completely. So my biggest takeaway is just piggybacking off of what I just said. And it's just kind of remembering to make sure that when you do something, you're doing it for you. It's great to do for other people, and it's important to be able to do for other people as well. However, if you're doing it at your own expense, then you're not only hurting yourself, but you're going to end up hurting everyone else as well, because it doesn't resonate and it's not what's meant. Oh, doggy moment. It's okay. I got excited too, but
I was listening. I was totally listening.
I don't know how
they were so fluffy.
You're encouraging me. I'm about to grab my pup and my kid and take a nice little walk into the woods after this conversation. I don't know if it'll be before or after I put this out to the public, so we will see how that goes. But this is going up, so y'all gonna be seeing this soon. With that being said, I appreciate everyone that tunes in and listens. Thank you again for all of the engagement, the likes, the comments, the shares, the ratings, just listening.
Yeah, if you're watching this, make sure to subscribe to Mindfully Chaotic. And Amanda, thank you so much for giving me this space to work on that public speaking and self-development. It's been huge for just all the transitions I'm going through. Thanks again.
Of course, and thank you again. With that being said, I appreciate the subscribe to Mindfully Chaotic in the description. I will also have Terri's YouTube link linked there. That way you could subscribe to her as well. Just tell us one more time what your channel is called.
It's Terrestrial Moments.
Terrestrial Moments. So you'll see that all there. Everything will be in the description. I'll follow up with her amazing multi-passionate uniform visual that she creates. And it's also encouraging me to come up with something. I'm going to talk to her about this off video because otherwise we'll just keep on going. However, stay tuned because I think that we're going to potentially come up with a little thing to help encourage others to create their multi-passionate uniform as well.
Ooh, cool. Yes, let's do that.
Yeah.
Amanda, I will check in with you super soon. I hope you have a beautiful day.
Thank you, Terri. You as well. Have a beautiful rest of your day, and we'll see you all soon. Thank you again for tuning in for another episode of Mindfully Chaotic. Sending you all love and good vibes. I never know where the record button is. I'm still recording. She's gone and I'm still recording. Oh, all right. Well, anyway. Yeah.